Hey guys, it's Matt. Today we're going to talk about turnkey investing. This is an exciting way for people to get into real estate. They don't have the time to do the day-to-day of real estate investing, but they want to make the alternative returns that are associated with it, and they're bankable. Maybe they don't have a ton of cash to put into like a syndicated deal or to do private lending or something like that. They want to just buy direct ownership of their rental property for themselves and own it themselves. But they don't want to do the turning over and the leasing out to tenants and the dealing with tenants on a day-to-day. So they go out and buy a property that's already been fully renovated and already has tenants in place and has management included in the agreement, right? That, in essence, is called a turnkey investment, okay? And the reason why we've been talking about turnkeys is we've got just a package of properties that are turnkeys that are for sale right now, and a lot of questions are coming up from investors. And these are really good questions and questions that really need to be answered so that you guys, your potential turnkey investor out there, keeps yourself out of trouble. So I want to go over a couple of points, things you really want to look for when you're buying a turnkey investment. So again, this is a property we bought. We're doing a full gut renovation on, and we're going to put tenants in, and we're going to handle the management for the buyer. It's going to be a great project for them. They're going to make around a 17% return on this property, and we're going to make profit on the sale. It's a symbiotic relationship, a win-win, if you will. So the first thing you want to look out for when you're buying a turnkey is make sure that the seller of that turnkey property is going to let you get a mortgage on the property. If they won't do it, I'll tell you why. It's because they're afraid the property's not going to appraise. And if the property's not going to appraise for the value you're buying it for, then you're paying too much for it. You should be paying somewhere in the neighborhood of market price for the property, because if you're not, then you're not going to be able to unload it. You're going to be locked into it. So why would you want to do that? Why would you want to pay twice the market price for the property, and then you can't do anything with it once when you want to get out, if you did want to get out or whatever it is. So make sure it'll appraise. Now, if you're buying a turnkey, you shouldn't be looking for the bottom barrel of the market price. Maybe it's the top of the market, like the very, very tip top of the market, but you should be able to at least get an appraisal to justify your purchase of that property and be able to get a mortgage so that you can borrow and leverage your cash flow and get into the 17% return range or above, because you're leveraging some debt in there, because just money is so cheap right now. You guys really ought to be using debt for your rental property purchases. So that's number one. Make sure you can get appraisal. Number two, unless you're super, super handy and understand construction like the back of your hand, get a home inspection. Have a home inspector come through. Don't expect the seller of a turnkey to handle all the little minor nuances, but you want to have them the home inspector come and look at all the bigger items. Make sure the heating units are functioning properly. Make sure the roof's in good condition. Make sure that just there's no major safety issues. If they uncover a few little minor things, it's not like buying a home where you want to come back and quibble with them over a few $1,000s, but you want to get an inspection and make sure the property is just in good condition. And on top of that, if you're in a state like we are in New Jersey, where there's something called a certificate of occupancy that's required before you put tenants in, make sure that the seller got you a clean certificate of occupancy, and that the tenants the property is registered with the city, and where we happen to be in the city of Trenton, all that's required. Make sure that I would typically make sure you hire an attorney to review the leases, to review the sales contract, and make sure that everything's above board on this transaction. That's the third thing. Make sure you get an attorney, make sure you get an appraisal, and make sure you get an inspector. These are the people that should be on your team as a turnkey buyer. And the last thing is, don't expect the provider of the property to do absolutely everything for you. Even though it's turnkey and it's a passive investment, you do have to do a little bit of work. You may have to pay some bills, you may have to pay some of your real estate taxes, and you should plan on going out and inspecting the asset once a quarter, and if it's remote, like in another state, once a year, to just go and walk it to make sure that it's still healthy, to make sure that your tenants are taking good care of the place. Don't just abdicate everything to the manager, because they're never going to care about it as much as you do as the owner. We care very much for our properties, but again, if we're selling it, we don't own it direct. And so just the owner has a different eye, different look about it than we do. And the owner can have a better say in financial decisions around the property and whether things like the kitchen needs to be replaced or whether renovations need to happen in the future. So I'd like to have owners' eyes on properties that I'm managing for other people too. It just helps. It helps to have an active owner that's willing to be in the conversation and doesn't want to just abdicate our responsibility to the manager with no responsibility for themselves. So again, those are tips to look into for a turnkey deal, guys. If you got more questions, ask them below. I'm happy to help. We've done a bunch of turnkey projects for people that want to invest with us, and I'm happy to help you guys mitigate and make sure that you guys get good deals on turnkeys that you do elsewhere in other parts of the world. So thanks for watching. Have a great profitable week.